Gasping for breath, tears streaming down my face, I clutched the hidden phone in my trembling hands as Rita's furious screams echoed through the house. "You little brat! I'll make you pay for this." But this time I wasn't alone. The recorded evidence of her cruelty was about to change everything, exposing the monster she'd been all along. My heart pounded as the door burst open. But to understand how I got here, we have to go back to the beginning. Hey everyone, if this hook has you on the edge of your seat, smash that subscribe button right now so you don't miss the full dramatic tale. And drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Is it the sunny streets of New York, the rainy vibes of London, or right here in Nigeria? Let's make this community global. In the humid air of Port Harcourt, where the Niger Delta's rivers whispered secrets to the mangroves and the distant hum of oil rigs filled the nights, lived a bright-eyed girl named Nia. At just 10 years old, Nia had a smile that could light up the darkest room. Her curly hair often tied back with colorful ribbons her late mother had given her. Her father, Dan, was a hard-working engineer for one of the big oil companies, spending months at a time on offshore platforms, drilling deep into the earth for black gold that fueled the nation's economy. Dan loved Nia more than anything. She was his little princess, the spitting image of her mother, who had passed away from a sudden illness when Nia was only 5. Life wasn't always easy in their modest two-story home in the GRA neighborhood with its gated compounds and palm-lined streets. But Dan made sure Nia had everything she needed: school fees paid on time, books to read, and weekends filled with trips to the beach or the local market for fresh plantains and fish. That all changed when Dan met Rita. Rita was a tall, sharp-featured woman with a laugh that sounded like breaking glass. She worked as a secretary in a downtown office, always dressed in tight skirts and high heels that clicked menacingly on the tiled floors. Dan thought she was the answer to his loneliness, someone to care for Nia while he was away. They married quickly in a small ceremony at the registry, and for a while, everything seemed perfect. But perfection was an illusion. As soon as Dan's bags were packed for his next rotation, 3 months on the rig, Rita's true colors emerged. It started small, a sharp word here, a forgotten lunch there. Nia, with her innocent eyes, didn't understand why her new stepmother's hugs felt cold, like hugging a statue. "Your father spoils you too much," Rita would say, her voice dripping with false sweetness when Dan was around. But alone, it was different. "Clean the kitchen, you lazy girl, or no dinner for you." Nia missed her mother terribly those first weeks. She would curl up in her room, clutching a faded photo of the three of them, Dan, her mom, and baby Nia, laughing, under a mango tree. The house, once filled with warmth, now felt like a cage. School became her escape, where she could play with friends and forget the growing tension at home. But even there, Rita's shadow loomed. She started picking Nia up late, claiming traffic in Port Harcourt's chaotic roads, leaving the girl waiting alone under the hot sun. As the days turned into weeks, Rita's maltreatment escalated. She forced Nia to do all the chores, washing dishes until her small hands were raw, sweeping the compound, even cooking simple meals like gari and soup. "If you tell your father, he'll think you're lying," Rita warned, her eyes narrowing like a predator's. Nia, terrified, kept silent during Dan's rare phone calls from the rig, her voice trembling as she said, "Everything's fine, Daddy." But inside a storm was brewing, a mix of fear, sadness, and a tiny spark of defiance. The emotional weight pressed on Nia like the heavy rains of the wet season. She cried herself to sleep many nights, wondering why Rita hated her so much. Was it because she reminded Rita of Dan's first wife? Or was it just pure wickedness, like the evil spirits in the folk tales her grandmother used to tell? In Port Harcourt, where old traditions mixed with modern life, Nia began to whisper prayers to their ancestors, hoping for protection. Little did she know, her trials were just beginning, and the city's vibrant energy, from the bustling Mile 1 market to the serene creeks, would soon play a role in her fate. Months passed, and Dan's absence stretched like an endless river. Rita's control tightened. She confiscated Nia's toys, calling them distractions, and made her study late into the night without breaks. You think you're smart? Prove it, or I'll send you to live with relatives in the village, Rita threatened one evening, slamming a stack of books on the table. Nia, exhausted from school and chores, nodded meekly, her eyes burning with unshed tears. One day, after a particularly grueling afternoon of scrubbing floors on her knees, Nia found a small bruise on her arm from where Rita had grabbed her too hard. It's nothing, she told herself, but the pain lingered, both physical and emotional. At school, her teacher, Miss Eve, the third key figure in Nia's life, noticed the change. Miss Eve was a kind-hearted woman in her 30s with a gentle smile and a passion for storytelling. She taught English and often shared Nigerian folk tales during lunch breaks, tales of clever animals and triumphant underdogs that gave Nia hope. Nia, what's wrong? You seem so quiet lately, Miss Eve asked one recess, pulling the girl aside under the shade of an acacia tree. Nia hesitated, her heart racing. Should she tell? Rita's warnings echoed in her mind. Nothing, Ma, she whispered, forcing a smile. But Miss Eve wasn't fooled. She gave Nia an extra snack from her bag, a pack of biscuits, and said, If you ever need to talk, I'm here. Remember the story of the tortoise who outsmarted the lion? Sometimes the small ones win. Back home, Rita's jealousy festered. She resented how Dan sent money for Nia's needs but skimped on her own luxuries. That man thinks only of you, she spat one night, forcing Nia to eat cold leftovers while she dined on fresh jollof rice. The tension built like thunderclouds over the delta, dramatic and oppressive. Nia dreamed of running away, but where? The streets of Port Harcourt were no place for a child, filled with hawkers, Okada riders zooming by, and the occasional danger lurking in shadows. Emotionally, Nia felt isolated, her once vibrant spirit dimming. She wrote secret letters to her father in a hidden notebook, pouring out her pain. Daddy, Rita hits me when you're gone. Please come back. But she never sent them, fearing Rita would find out. Entertainment came in small doses, sneaking peeks at TV shows about brave kids on adventures. But even that was risky. Rita controlled the remote, preferring soap operas full of scheming women that mirrored her own life. As the part drew to a close, Nia overheard Rita on the phone with a friend, laughing about how the brat is finally learning her place. The words cut deep, fueling a quiet resolve in Nia. The story was far from over, and the fateful day loomed closer. Hey folks, if this emotional roller coaster is hitting home, hit that subscribe button now and join the family. Tell me in the comments, where are you tuning in from? Lagos, Abuja, or maybe overseas in the US? Let's connect. The maltreatment turned physical more often. One morning, Nia spilled a glass of water while setting the table. Rita's hand flew, slapping her across the cheek. Clumsy fool! Clean it up. The sting brought tears, but Nia bit her lip, refusing to cry in front of her. The bruise bloomed like a purple flower on her fair skin, hidden under long sleeves. At school, Miss Eve noticed again during class. Nia, come see me after school, she said softly. This time, Nia broke down in the empty classroom, sobbing out fragments of the truth. She hurts me when Daddy's away. Miss Eve's face paled, but she hugged Nia gently. You're brave for telling me. We'll figure this out together. As a teacher, Miss Eve knew the laws. Child abuse was serious in Nigeria, but she treaded carefully, not wanting to escalate without proof. She gave Nia her phone number. Call if you need help. At home, Rita's suspicions grew. She searched Nia's room, finding the notebook. What's this? She snarled, reading the letters. In a fit of rage, she tore the pages, scattering them like confetti. You ungrateful child, your father will hear how you lie about me. Nia cowered in the corner, heart pounding with terror. The drama intensified as Rita locked her in her room without food, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Nia spent the night hungry, her mind racing with folktale memories, stories of orphans who found magical allies. In the realism of Port Harcourt, though, magic was in small acts, the neighbor's dog barking, the sound of church bells from afar. Emotionally drained, Nia whispered to herself, one day it'll end. Entertaining thoughts of escape kept her sane, imagining life on the rigs with Dan, waves crashing below. The part built to an emotional peak when Dan called unexpectedly. Rita forced Nia to the phone. Say you're fine, she hissed. Nia did, but her voice cracked, planting a seed of doubt in Dan's mind miles away on the oil platform. Dan's work on the rig was grueling. Long shifts under the sun, isolation from family. He missed Nia terribly, sending gifts via courier, a new dress, books about Nigerian heroes. But Rita intercepted them, keeping some for herself. He sent this for me, she lied, wearing the dress to work. Nia's heart broke each time, the emotional toll mounting. One weekend, Miss Eve invited Nia to a school event, a cultural fair with dances and stories. It was a brief respite, filled with laughter and akara snacks. See, life can be good, Miss Eve said, her presence a beacon of hope. But returning home, reality crashed back. Rita waited, arms crossed. Where were you? Sneaking around? A shove sent Nia stumbling, adding another bruise. The tension escalated when Rita started inviting friends over, partying late while Nia served them like a maid. Get more beer, girl, they'd laugh, treating her like invisible. Nia felt humiliated, her spirit eulure crushed but not broken. In a moment of defiance, she hid Rita's favorite necklace, watching the chaos as Rita searched frantically. It was a small victory, entertaining in its pettiness, but dangerous. Dan's return was delayed by storms in the Gulf of Guinea, prolonging the nightmare. Nia prayed for a fateful day when justice would come, like in the tales where gods intervened. Realistic as it was, she began planning, collecting evidence in secret, like photos of bruises on Miss Eve's old phone she borrowed. Loving the drama so far? Subscribe for more stories like this and turn on notifications. Comment your location. Are you in Port Harcourt like Nia or somewhere exotic like Paris? Share and let's grow this together. As months dragged, Rita's cruelty peaked. She made Nia skip school to run errands, claiming family duties. Nia, once top of her class, fell behind, her grades slipping like sand. Miss Eve confronted Rita at a parent-teacher meeting, but Rita played innocent. Nia's just lazy, she said sweetly. Behind closed doors, retaliation was swift. No food for 2 days. Nia's body weakened, but her mind sharpened. She confided more in Miss Eve, who documented the abuse discreetly. We need proof, Miss Eve whispered during a secret meeting at a local park where children played football amid the green fields. The emotional scenes were heart-wrenching. Nia crying, "Why does she hate me?" Miss Eve replying, "Some people are broken inside." Entertainment came from Nia's imagination. She created stories in her head, folk tales where a girl like her tamed a wicked spirit. Dramatic moments included a night when Rita, drunk from a party, confessed her jealousy to a friend over the phone, unaware Nia was listening. That child takes all his attention. Nia recorded it on the borrowed phone, the tension building like a crescendo. Dan sensed something wrong during calls, his voice worried. Is Rita treating you well? Nia wanted to scream, but fear held her back. The realistic struggle of a child against an adult power dynamic added depth, making the story entertaining yet poignant. Miss Eve became Nia's lifeline, sneaking her food and books. "You're strong, like Anansi the spider in the tales," she encouraged. They met at a quiet cafe near the waterfront where boats bobbed on the Bonny River. Nia shared more details, the emotional bond growing. Rita grew paranoid, accusing Nia of stealing. A search turned up the hidden phone, but Nia had backed up the recordings. The confrontation was tense. Rita grabbing Nia by the hair, yelling, "What are you plotting?" Nia, for the first time, yelled back, "Leave me alone." The slap that followed left a mark, but also ignited fire in Nia's eyes. In Port Harcourt's vibrant community, rumors spread. Neighbors whispered about the wicked woman in the house. One neighbor, an old man who told folk tales under the stars, noticed Nia's bruises and offered wise words. "Evil sows its own destruction," he said, adding a folk element to the realism. The part ended with Dan announcing a surprise early return due to rig maintenance. Hope flickered, but tension mounted. Would he believe Nia? Storms, literal and figurative, brewed. Heavy rains flooded Port Harcourt streets, mirroring Nia's turmoil. Rita, sensing change, amped up her act, being extra nice on calls with Dan, but doubling down on abuse privately. She forced Nia to lie in rehearsals. "Tell him I'm the best mom." Nia, with Miss Eve's help, gathered more evidence. Photos, notes, even a witness statement from a classmate who saw a bruise. The emotional weight was heavy. Nia felt guilty for betraying her family, but Miss Eve reassured her truth is freedom. Entertaining twists included Nia pranking Rita by accidentally spilling oil on her clothes, leading to comedic chaos amid the drama. The city setting added realism. Traffic jams delaying Miss Eve's visits, power outages hiding Nia's tears in darkness. As Dan's return neared, the fateful day dawned, but not without more suffering. Another CTA alert. If this tension has you hooked, subscribe immediately and like this video. Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. Johannesburg, Dubai, or back home in Nigeria. Your support means the world. The rain poured as Dan's flight landed early. Rita, panicked, cleaned the house frantically, forcing Nia to smile. "Act normal, or else." Nia nodded, but her heart raced. The phone with evidence hidden in her school bag. Dan arrived tired but joyful, hugging Nia tight. "My princess, I've missed you." Rita played the doting wife, cooking his favorite pepper soup. But Nia saw the cracks, Dan noticing her thin frame, the faded bruises. "What happened to your arm?" he asked. That night, as thunder rumbled, Nia slipped the phone to Dan while Rita slept. "Listen to this, Daddy." The recordings played. Rita's screams, slaps, confessions. Dan's face turned to stone, tears in his eyes. The emotional confrontation was raw. Dan waking Rita, demanding answers. "How could you hurt my child?" Rita denied, cried, blamed Nia. The drama unfolded like a Nollywood movie, tense and entertaining. The house erupted. Dan shouted, "You're out! Pack your things!" Rita begged, then turned vicious, lunging at Nia. "This is your fault." Dan intervened, protecting his daughter. Police were called. In realistic Nigeria, Child Protection Services got involved, thanks to Miss Eve's report. Nia, shaking, testified tearfully. The emotion peaked as Dan apologized profusely. "I should have seen it sooner." Miss Eve arrived as support, her presence calming. Folktale vibes emerged when Nia dreamed of her mother that night, whispering, "You did good." Entertaining resolution began as Rita was escorted out, her schemes crumbling. With Rita gone, healing started. Dan took time off work, bonding with Nia over trips to the creek, fishing and sharing stories. Miss Eve became a family friend, helping with counseling. Nia flourished, grades up, smiles genuine. The city felt alive again, markets buzzing, friends playing. Emotional depth came from Nia's forgiveness journey, Not for Rita, but for herself. Tension lingered in legal proceedings, but justice prevailed. Rita faced charges, a realistic outcome. Dan considered remarrying carefully, but focused on Nia. They moved to a brighter home near the beach, waves washing away pain. Miss Eve introduced folktale workshops where Nia wrote her own story, a tale of a brave girl and her wicked stepmother. Entertaining adventures included school plays, where Nia starred as the heroine. Dramatic flashbacks added tension, but hope dominated. Reflecting on that fateful day, Nia grew stronger. At 11 now, she advocated for abused kids, speaking at school events. Dan, forever changed, stayed closer to home. Miss Eve's role evolved, like a godmother in tales. The story's realism shone. Not all ends perfectly, but resilience wins. CTA time. Subscribe if this inspiring tale moved you and share with friends. Where are you from? Tell us in comments. Sydney, Tokyo, or Enugu, let's spread positivity.